The focus of this video is based around the inquiry question, how can we use statistics and probability to design a vegetable garden? This question is uncovered as students explore the context of creating their very own vegetable garden, something that promotes student interest and is relevant to their own lives. As students progress through their learning, the devise phase encourages a greater understanding of the statistics and probability skills needed to undertake this investigation. For example, using a tally system and picture graph to represent data. This lesson plan has been built upon the Year 2 content descriptors from the Australian curriculum, which states, students are to collect, check and classify data and organise into categories and create displays using lists, tables, picture graphs and simple column graphs, with and without the use of technology. This inquiry also links to the descriptor, describe and draw two-dimensional shapes with and without the use of technologies. As students explore these concepts in more depth, they are elaborating on their mathematical learning as they collect and interpret data, activate prior knowledge as they draw two-dimensional shapes, and develop and share their ideas with their peers. Problem-solving competency is also increased as creativity, planning, and decision-making skills are needed to evaluate and develop appropriate solutions to the task at hand. Students are first introduced to the task by viewing several examples of vegetable gardens pictured on the interactive whiteboard. This not only engages students in their learning, but it also provides a space for students to actively participate in class discussions, where they will have the opportunity to share their opinions and activate their prior knowledge as they reflect on their learning of two-dimensional shapes and discuss the pros and cons of designing a vegetable garden in a particular shape. Students will also review what they already know on statistics and probability, specifically their knowledge on data collection using tally tables and picture graphs. This was taught previously in the Discover phase. Once students are familiar with their previously learnt two-dimensional shapes and have activated their background knowledge on data collection, they can begin collecting the data needed to answer the inquiry question. As a class, students explore their own personal preferences by taking a deeper look at their favourite vegetables and what shape they believe the vegetable garden should be in. The teacher should be using the whiteboard to make note of and display these results to ensure that all students can access them. Students can then record this collected data using a tally system and organise their results into two separate tables, one labelled Favourite Vegetables and one labelled Favourite Shapes. An expected student outcome of this can be seen on the screen. Using the collected data displayed in their tally tables, students can then transfer this information into two separate picture graphs, one labelled Favoured Shapes, where students will use their knowledge on two-dimensional shapes to draw the corresponding shape aligned with the labels on the y-axis, while the other, labelled Favourite Vegetables, will use a symbol, for example a star, to represent the number of tallies. Using a symbol, such as a star, also ensures that students won't become confused between the two picture graphs. An expected student outcome of this can be seen on the screen. Using these data displays, students can then interpret and make observations on the most popular shape for the design of their vegetable garden and the most popular vegetables based on the opinions of the class. This information will be used later on in the defend phase as students work in groups to design the ideal vegetable garden based off the most popular shape and the top 3 most popular vegetables as they compare their findings between the results of their class and another class. Throughout the lesson, students will be guided by the teacher as they are asked the following essential questions, which will assist them in the progression of their learning. They are, what two-dimensional shapes could we use to design the vegetable garden? What vegetables could we put into the vegetable garden? Who do we need to ask? What data collection strategies can we use to record our information? And what mathematical processes are involved in designing a vegetable garden? To answer each of these questions, students must be provided with plenty of materials to complete the hands-on activities. This includes, but is not limited to, paper, rulers, pencils and erasers, the whiteboard and whiteboard markers. A student with learning difficulties should also be provided with alternative materials to ensure they can still participate in the lesson. For example, an iPad or laptop, or the use of a teacher aid to assist them as a scribe. The lesson will be concluded as students review the inquiry question and the processes they undertook to gather data in order to find appropriate solutions to the question. Students can reflect on the gathered data by participating in whole class discussions to share ideas on applying this information into the design of their vegetable gardens and justifying their reasoning. Overall, this lesson aims to develop students' understanding on the process of gathering data using tally tables and picture graphs, and interpreting trends and making observations of results in the data. The following lessons, being the develop and defend phase, will extend even further on this concept and allow students to design and create their very own vegetable gardens.